Good evening, everybody here in present and also online via Zoom. My name is Scott Memhard. I'm the Ward 1 Gloucester City Councilor and Chair of our Budget and Finance Committee for the City of Gloucester. And we are meeting here in the first floor conference room at City Hall as well as online. And just leaving us is our esteemed legislative aide, Lyons. Thank you. And with us here is our newest counselor, or one of two new counselors, Patty Page at large, and Council President Tony Gross.
Hello.
At large. And I'm just going to ask for the ease of things in my memory to go around the room. I know Kenny Costa, our city auditor, and I know Connor McCorkle, our CFO. If the rest of you could just introduce yourselves and state your affiliation, just so we can all know who we are with.
Sure.
Starting here.
Bill Barton. I'm a board member with Schooner Adventure.
I'm Greg Bover. I'm the board president at Adventure.
I'm Bill Cuff, Vice Chair of this Community Preservation Committee.
Tom Stevenson on the board of the Cape Ann Amateur Radio Association.
I'm Brendan Hockle. I'm president of the Cape Ann Amateur Radio Association.
I'm Elise Tanagra. I'm the city's director of elder services.
I'm Martha Oaks. I'm a curator at the Cape Ann Museum.
I'm Linda Harvey. I'm the executive director of the Hammond Castle Museum.
We're going to go ahead and follow the agenda as posted, which will allow CPA presenters first dibs on our time and attention tonight. And I don't know, Bill, as CPA co-chair, you'd like to make a little introduction and talk about the process that you've already done a thorough vetting of those presenting tonight and the next two reviews that we'll be looking forward to.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, the CPC has throughout the summer, and for Pat's benefit, took applications in, and we vetted them, had presentations which have been recorded at our meetings from each of the applicants. And when in September when we met, we made a recommendation and sent a letter to the mayor, which was forwarded to the city council, recommending 10 applicants this year. We actually were working with Kenny, Community Preservation account currently has $1 million in it, $1,088,000. And we are recommending proposed funding of $821,000. We have left some money in there because there is a project that couldn't get completed on time for funding. So we think that it's going to come in this year as a special request. And that has to do with the East School project. Playground
at
East Gloucester School. So that is still in the works.
Good.
Right. So
close on my heart.
Yep, very close. And very important to the city. So this evening we have 4 applicants. Because respectful of your time, we bring 4 applicants in at a time and have them give a brief presentation. But the main purpose today is to answer any questions that you as members of the Budget and Finance Committee on behalf of the council have regarding these projects. So
I'd ask going forward further, to give a little background about the city's participation in the Community Preservation Act funding process. We're now at a 1% contribution on our tax base, and then the state match varies from year to year depending on the state finances and the number of transactions at the registry of deeds, I think.
right, that's a very good point, Scott. It's very confusing to some people because they hear 1% of the tax base, the tax rate. They may think that's on the value of their house, which is not. It's 1% of the tax that you pay. In the first 100,000 of your home is excluded from that calculation. So the average home here in Gloucester, we probably about $60 that goes into the Community Preservation Fund each and every year. You could put a city could put up to 3%. And then what happens is the state collects money on every real estate transaction that happens throughout the year. And they put that money into a fund. And then at the end of the year, they make a match to each and every each city and town that participates in the Community Preservation Act. In the beginning, there was very big matches that went out. And then when the real estate boom happened, we got very big matches.
And there were fewer communities participating. Boston did community.
Exactly. Fewer, yeah. And for example, Winchester, a wealthy community, just came on board a few years ago. So, but now we have very many communities involved, more and more each and every year. And in addition to that, real estate transactions have, as you all know, reading the paper, have slowed down. So our match, as Kenny can attest, has been going down from the last couple of years. We still get a match from the state, but it hasn't been as large as it has been in the 3 or 4 years ago.
I don't know if you want to follow up on that, Kennedy, just to put
Yeah.
context.
Yeah, that's been difficult, the last 5 years been difficult to gauge what that match is going to be. There are times DOR doesn't even, they used to provide an estimate, but the last 5 years they wait until last minute until they provide an estimate. Some years they don't even provide an estimate. So we always try to be conservative, in nature. There were some years that I know the state, they had some money left over in their budget, and they also added that, contributed to the match. So those years we had almost about 50%, of a match. So I don't see that happening. Again, I'm looking,
14-15%?
that's what I was just gonna say. I'm thinking about 15%. That's probably a good, conservative estimate,
Down to a high of 38 or 40% at one time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but early on, some communities, it was 1-to-1. Like I remember in the 90s, Sudbury, for example, they're one of the early adopters of community preservation. They would collect $1 million and they would have $1 million of a state match at one point. But
Rockport, in contrast,
Yeah.
elected for and passed a 3% CPA levy, and so they benefited. They actually can only benefit from a second or even a third round,
Right.
because of their commitment to the CPA program.
Yeah, when you're at 3%, then there's 3 rounds of funding. Where we're at 1% is just 1 round of funding.
Right.
And also, we can't proceed to make these awards until our own city budget has been formally put to bed and it's approved by the state.
And also the balance sheet and free cash certification, which we're in the process right now. Yeah, putting that together.
So, sorry for the distraction, but it's a helpful background.
It's interesting to note, Scott, since 2008, when the city of Gloucester passed the 1% CPA tax levy, we've given out, and it's not coming this year, over $9 million to 130 projects, to more than 130 projects in the city of Gloucester.
If you look on the state's website, the CPC website, they have a wonderful summary of our own distributions and the projects that were awarded, as well as every other state municipality, every other city and town and municipality, so that they do a good accounting of these.
Yeah, there's a database.
And
Right.
there are 4 designations that we are able to direct these funds for.
Right, historic preservation, affordable housing, open space and recreation are the 4 categories that money can be allocated to. And usually when we go through the process with an applicant, we find out what the total cost is. These people will be talking about that today. And we do not fund usually a total cost for a project, because we look for the organization that comes to us to raise some money in addition to what they're going to get from the city of Gloucester. And then you make it a requirement that they report out on the project on a very regular basis on how it's progressing. And once it's completed, you may see many of the signs around the city of Gloucester that says that these projects have been funded, has received funding assistance from the citizens of Gloucester through the Community Preservation Act.
And you're supported by a staff person at community development.
Yes.
So
Zoe Benatakis, she's wonderful, by the way.
You're here.
Yeah,
She's great.
I'll attest to that. Kenny, yeah.
I just it's 3 categories: in open space and recreation.
Like-
It's combined, it's 1.
Yeah, thank you. So unless there are background questions, we'll go ahead with our first applicant. Excuse me.
Okay, our first applicant is the Schooner Adventure, which is one of our registered historic natural landmarks in the city of Gloucester and the official flagship of the city of Gloucester. So we have Bill Bond and Greg here. We are recommending from the Community Preservation Committee to award $14,000 to the Schooner Adventure. The total cost of this project is estimated to be $28,741. And I'll let you say a few words.
the project that you heard is asking for $14,000 to go towards the purchase of specialty wood timbers to be used solely for preservation purposes on the National Historic Landmark Story Fishing Schooner Adventure. It is going to be used in the third and final phase of our second century preservation project that the CPA has with. The full multi-year project is about $850,000. And the final phase of it is roughly about 2/3 complete. The final piece of it will be $330,000 of preservation work a couple of years from now. We're proposing to acquire timbers well in advance, and we need really specialty timbers for our type of work. We want to seek the best wood quality at the best price, and also allow for proper seasoning of the timber. Seasoning and drying it leads to preservation work of a higher quality and preservation that will last longer. If you don't season the timber appropriately, it can warp and crack and lead to other issues. Gloucester CPA funding has been extremely important to the success of our preservation work, helping us to leverage additional funds. And looking back over our past awards with the CPA, we have a record of doing 3 or 4 to 1 match. So really the CPA funds have been instrumental in us raising funds from other foundations or private individuals. So in a nutshell, it's for early purchase and seasoning of timber that leads to preservation that lasts longer.
And this money will be for under the historic preservation component.
And I just want to add, I really appreciate the comments from both of you. I liked your $60 per average household. It was kind of interesting to hear. Any?
It's pretty apparent, you know, what you're doing here. I think it's a very good, to think ahead this way, and you definitely need to have the stuff cured. So I think, for this amount of money, I think, considering the costs of materials today, it's going to be somewhat of a bargain.
Councilor Page, any questions?
No, I watched your full presentation to the committee online.
Great.
So I
Thank you.
understood the timbers and the driving.
Could you speak in general a little bit about your public mission? I mean, we've all
Sure.
sailed on the Atlantic. We understand its role in our history and the excitement of bringing it home to Gloucester and
Yep.
keeping it afloat. But one of the questions we all look for is how the community benefits.
Sure.
As the city of Gloucester, what access we have and what provisions you make for members of the community to benefit from this
Yeah.
historic investment.
So we have actually tried to increase what we do for the community over the last few years. We have an initiative called our Fair Winds initiative, and we have partnered with places like Gloucester Housing Authority. Ray, can you think of some of the other entities?
Sure.
I should have brought a list with me, but we do a variety of Action Inc.
Wellspring.
Yeah.
Organizations that have for caregivers, Alzheimer's caregivers,
Yeah.
and cancer survivors and their caregivers, and a number of other support group.
I think there's some of the veterans that you did that.
Yes,
Veterans,
yeah. And
You're somewhat restricted because of your relationship with Maritime Gloucester as your role with the education community. in
yes,
Gloucester, the
yes,
public
we
schools.
are at the moment. A component of our lease for our berth at Maritime Gloucester prohibits us from working without their permission with the kind of grade school level
Yeah.
schools in Gloucester. It's not that we wouldn't like to, but we hope through further partnership with them that maybe we can do more of that. And another question that came up to me just earlier this evening was most of our service, and we also service the tourism market that comes to Gloucester as well. But what about sales that are just for the general public? In other words, you're not part of one of those entities that we've been working with. And We have not done those on a regular basis. We did some during the 400 celebrations. But it's something that we'll get back to you, Patty, about, because it is a good point that for the person who's not associated with one of those entities, we haven't been offering just a general open public center. So,
We have an education program with middle school girls presently, and we're hoping to expand that to middle school boys at some point. In the near
Don't bother
future.
with boys.
it's been a lot of our education programs are kind of 3 hours on the vessel and fairly immersive there, but we are trying to do more immersive programs. So the one that Greg was referencing, called Girls on Adventure, they come for several weeks. They come a couple days a week. So it's a much more immersive program, and I think they benefit greatly from that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate those details and background. Any other council questions?
One other thing I'd like to
Yes, Greg,
say,
please.
this is our 100th year.
Yeah.
The ship was launched in 1926, so we're celebrating our 100th year. And we've been invited to go to New York for the 4th of July, the 250th 4th of July. And so we'll be representing the city at that event, and the following weekend in Boston for Sail Boston 2026.
And so in a way, that's putting Gloucester out there to other communities.
Reminds me of Harold Burnham's trip down to Boston, Washington.
Yeah.
There are no other council questions. I'll go ahead and read the motion for consideration. So, the Community Preservation Committee recommends the city council approve, so how I read this. The Budget and Finance Committee of the Gloucester City Council. Oh, I have that one. I have. We've got multiple templates here. Depends which hat we're wearing. So this is project number one, the preservation of the timber on the schooner Adventure. The amount is $14,000. The applicant is the Gloucester Adventure, Inc. Budget and Finance moves to recommend that the City Council appropriate up to $14,000 from the Community Preservation Act funds, as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee, to provide funding to Gloucester Adventure, Inc. for the purpose of preservation of timber for the schooner Adventure in order to preserve an historic resource. The appropriation will be allocated to the historic preservation category, funded from unrestricted reserves in Fund 4500. The project will be tracked in the Community Preservation Fund Historic Preservation Fund, Fund number 4774, and I so move.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion passes 3 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
You're welcome to hang
Great,
out.
appreciate it.
Consideration.
It's like watching paint dry.
Fair feeling.
All of our projects this evening will be under the historic preservation category of the Community Preservation Act. The second one involves the building that houses the Cape Ann Amateur Radio Association. They're looking to make ADA improvements in their building. The total cost of the project has been estimated at $75,000. They put in an application and we made a recommendation to the City Council that we provide $40,000 for this project. Today we have Tom Stevenson and Brandon Oprah representing the Cape Ann Amateur Radio Association.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Great insight into the process. It's been fascinating to be part of this. So our group is, we're about 120 or 130 members that are paying dues members in the club. We have about half of them are over 50, maybe over a third are in the senior range. Our hobby.
I won't ask you to define senior.
Yeah, I guess like the official senior, it gets further and further up as we go along. So we have an older membership that has some mobility issues, and really what we've been trying to do is open up this historic building so that it's easier for people to get access to it. The building is fascinating building. It's been around since about before the Civil War. It's been a school. It's been the Riverdale Fire Department or the Riverside Fire Department. It's been a pigeon fanciers club shared by Cara, and now it's mostly our ham radio club. And it serves a very unique community of communicators and technological innovators, people who are into both teaching and talking, and we have veterans. We have many people in the club that have served the community, and it's great because it's a center point here in town. But we have through our radio, we have outreach to a much broader community. I mean, so the impact of our club is actually pretty great. We have folks as far down as Quincy and as far north as Maine and New Hampshire that come and take advantage of our club. We work with many different groups, the Boy Scouts, the Sea Scouts, and many other groups. Our overall mission is to try to bring the technology that these people who are very vested in technology and understand a lot, have seen a lot, had a lot of experience with the younger group. But we got to get the older group into the building as they get older. And so this will be instrumental to us in terms of our ability to handle it through the guidance of the Community Preservation Committee. We've sort of designed our project in phases. The key phase that we're working on right now is the getting them in the door, frontage of the building, putting in a accessibility ramp, and doing a regrade of our front parking area, putting in place for a mobility accessible van or vehicle to be able to park and bring people in. Yeah, I mean, this is a project that would be sort of beyond the scope of our club, even with our membership dues. It's a fairly sizable project, as anybody who's done home improvements probably can attest to. And so the impact will be huge for our group. And again, like I said, a lot of the members in our hobby, the ages are skewing more to the point where accessibility is a real issue. Some people can't come to the club because of issues with dealing with the frontage of the building, an ungraded sidewalk out front, and a difficult porch. So this first phase is going to be great for just being able to get them in and being able to utilize the building. Yeah, and that's basically where we're at.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Councilors, questions?
Did I see someplace or read someplace that this is a city-owned building?
So what happened is that we had a lease from the city. And then the city was, I think, in a position to sell the property, and we worked with them to get a grant for purchase. So basically, we like along the lines of like $1, like is basically so that we could stay in and establish our emergency communication center for the Cape or for Cape Ann. And through that process, we are responsible for keeping the building, like upkeeping it. I don't think we can sell it, and I don't think that we can, you know what I mean? It's not like,
So it's
it's
a hybrid kind of transfer.
yeah.
Your work is really important.
Oh,
Sounds like
thank
the
you.
Legion Hall. Like Gloucester Legion. Owned by the
Yeah,
city.
but they lease. They said they
Part of it.
transferred for $1, but that's all right. I just wanted to clarify for my own information.
Yeah, it's an important point because we do we've taken grants from national organizations in the past. Those have gone directly into improving the building, like putting in a floor and a heating system in the front of the building, taking out some older heating equipment and things. So, I mean, we're really stewards of that building. We really consider it like as far as ham radio clubs go in our hobby, it's a gem. And so we treat it like a precious jewel. Yeah, like I said, this will be a fairly important improvement that we wouldn't be able to make otherwise.
Is there an investment in the technology, the radios and the transmission equipment that you have?
Yeah, so that is something that the membership does pay for out of its own pocket. We provide a repeater system for Gloucester that basically covers about 100-mile footprint around here. And we also do the credentialing for new ham radio operators. So a lot of people that are emergency services people that want to operate radios and that kind of thing will come to us and get their ham radio and amateur radio ticket, learn how the technology works. And so So there's that investment. We have both a 2 meter and a 70 centimeter repeater system, digital repeater system. We have a method or a mechanism through which we retransmit emergency services frequencies over the internet from our location. For a while, we housed a survey equipment for earthquake detection. Yeah, and so we have our hats in a lot of different. But yes, we do that.
And I was surprised to learn about the community projects that you do. This is here in the city for communication purposes.
Yeah, that's a big thing that we do.
Public safety role.
These are the guys.
Right.
Yeah, so we help out with the Horribles Parade as well as the Gloucester the Christmas Parade. We help out with a group called UCAN that does a lot of races on Cape Ann, keeping the runners safe and coordinating with emergency service people and that kind of work. Yeah. So.
15 half marathons this year. I think
15.
I think it was 15.
And I was surprised that you were participating in this.
Yeah, it's uncommon, and a lot of our members, are participate in other clubs to work and coordinate their net control systems. Like one of our members of the board of directors sits on the emergency services group up in Salisbury, New Hampshire. So yeah, we have an outsized impact for considering the size of our club, and it's all centered in Gloucester too. So whenever there's a meeting, like members meeting or an open house, like they all come to Gloucester. It's the home base for all this activity.
Fascinating.
It looks like you own the building.
Oh, great. Can we sell it too?
I don't know.
I think it's
Bought it for $2,300, right?
Yeah.
2015,
2,300.
So it's a $1 adjusted for.
according to the record.
My only comment was you might check in with the woman behind you in the Hammond Museum in terms of the connection and the technology.
So we actually coordinate with them pretty closely. We actually just did a program with them, and we love the Hammond Castle. We promote them as much as we can, and they help us with letting us do activations from their
It's a
location.
good symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, you and I should talk to them.
I had it ready. I had it ready when you were done to say if you want to come down to the senior center and present about what you do. We miss Hank terribly that it hurts, but thank you for it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
Yes.
Our former president.
I could cry.
Yes, you touched a lot of good things.
Yeah, and his wife both.
Yes. Any other questions or comments? So this is project number 2, providing ADA, American Disability Act improvements for the Cape Ann Amateur Radio Association. The amount is $40,000. The applicant is the Cape Ann Amateur Radio Association. Budget and Finance Committee recommends that the City Council approve up to $40,000 from the Community Preservation Act funds as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee to provide funding to the Cape Ann Amateur Radio Association for the purpose of providing ADA improvements to the Cape Ann Amateur Radio Association in order to preserve an historic resource. The appropriation will be allocated to the historic preservation category and funded from unrestricted reserves in Fund 4500. The project will be tracked in the Community Preservation Act Preservation Fund, Historic Preservation Fund number 4775, and I so move.
Second.
Any further discussion or question? Hands been on. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 3 in favor, 0.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank
We'll be
you.
talking.
Excellent. It's always wonderful to see the diversity of projects that are going on in this community.
As a former public science graduate, it's absolutely fascinating to watch the project, and you guys are doing an amazing job with the public good. So keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank them.
Yeah. Bill,
All right, up, we have our next project number 3 has to, it's the project sponsor is Cape Ann Museum, and we have Martha Ropes here to present. This is a historic preservation, preserving the Virginia Lee Burton paper, which very important person in the history of Gloucester. And the project cost is estimated to be $40,000. The applicant is requesting $20,000, which is the recommendation that the Community Preservation Committee submitted to you to the City Council. And to give us an overview, it's Martha.
Thank you. So the Burton papers are part of our archives. As you probably all know, we have a library archive system in our part of the museum. And the Burton papers were given to us over the years by her family. And they consist of her sketchbooks, mock-ups for some of her books, including The Little House that was published 80 years ago, Mike Mulligan and his Steam Shovel, and some of those classic children's books. And they're heavily used by staff, by researchers, by our education department, just by the general public, just because she was such a well-known author. Her archives are with us, they're with the Sawyer Library, they're with University of Minnesota, University of Oregon, Public Library of Philadelphia. The family thought it was important because of her stature to spread the archives around this country. So we're very fortunate to have it here. And as I say, they get used a lot. They've been digitized, so people can look at them that way. But the original sketchbooks and galleys and proofs all need professional conservation work. And that's something that we're not set up to do in-house. We don't have any conservators in-house, so everything goes out. And we will work with a private conservator in Arlington and with the Northeast Document Conservation Center, which both do wonderful work on things like this. There's old pieces of Scotch tape that have long let loose and put the adhesive stays on. Things that have just become separated from where they were that we'll have to do a little detective work to figure out where they go back. So the things need to be deacidified, cleaned, some tears and stuff mended, and then put back into the format that they're supposed to be. And then those will be available to people under certain circumstances. We are trying to rely on the digital things as much as possible because many people can use those, their own convenience. But the original do need to be preserved. And she's the woman who also started the Folly Cove Designers under the name Virginia Lee Demetrius. So she was very well known. Gloucester.
It's an important archive for our community.
Yep.
Councilors, questions?
No, I mean, this is a huge piece of history here. Of someone all that work was done here.
Yeah.
In Lanesville.
We've benefited from several community preservation projects, and we've always been able to match or exceed the grants that we get from private foundations or from our own membership. And we've also, some of our projects we've had to get extensions, but we've always succeeded in finishing up everything in a timely manner. So.
Right.
No questions. Can you vote on this?
So I'm about to state
Okay.
that I have,
A familiar relationship.
that Martha is my wife, last I checked. And I don't have any financial benefit
I know.
from the relationship through the Cape Ann Museum, which is going to be shortly leaving, so. Full disclosure.
Legally, yes.
Because there's no financial benefit. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Not to cause you any concern.
No, better to ask the question than to
Absolutely.
wonder.
Yeah, no, I knew you'd do the right thing, Scott.
Any further questions or concerns?
No, sir.
What's the time frame that you anticipate this moving ahead?
Well, I know this project takes a long time, and we have one CPA grant that we're trying to finish up and then we'll start. And we think they've brought me 4 batches to the conservators so that we don't keep control of things. And we'll just, as soon as we get the we'll start.
So once the contract gets approved, we give them until the end of 2027 to have the project completed.
So they have to expend the funds or complete the project prior to.
December 31st, 2027. And if they can't get the project done because of extenuating circumstances, they can come in and request an extension. And that we would have to, as a committee, vote to grant that extension. And usually if it is legitimate reason for that, we grant that for an additional, maybe a year.
And we have had to do that. During COVID, we got horribly behind with contractors on the construction. So I think the city was very cooperative about.
Right. At our last meeting, we reviewed all of those that were coming to December of 25 and granted some extensions because of circumstances.
For Councilor Page, who's new, projects that are funded by the CPC that do not come to fruition, those funds end up being returned to the committee, and the funds, it comes to mind, the Oak Grove Cemetery.
Right.
wrought iron signposts. That was an interesting project that never came to fruition, so those funds came
Right,
back.
come back to the community preservation, and then if there is in some instances, as Kenny knows, some projects would have maybe $150 that they didn't need to spend. Or did get spent, we then vote on bringing that money back into. So they have to make quarterly reports as the project's progressing. And then when it's completed, and we reimburse them, by the way, it's a reimbursement for expenses. So it's not like they're getting the money in advance. They're getting.
So how does it work for the DPW, for instance, for Fitzhugh Lane? The DPW expends that
We
money,
pay the vet, so that's sorry,
that's
so
under reimbursement.
it's a
That-
city prod, so that would be considered a city asset, a city project. So we would be paying the vendor directly on
Oh, okay.
that scenario.
But
yeah.
DPW. take that.
Yeah, the roof and the windows.
Yeah,
And
a little
it is
different for a city.
There's a balance for Fitzhugh Lane
Correct,
that is coming back to CPC. Is that how that's gonna work?
If there is a balance.
right. If there is a balance, the CPC committee would have to rescind the project. And then it would go back to its original funding source, if that's the case. That would be
Back
the
into
scenario.
the stock.
I'll find out about that. Fine, thanks.
Read the motion and we voted on it, and there was a second. All those in favor?
You didn't read the Virginia Grant?
Did I not read it?
I don't think
I
so.
don't believe so.
No.
Well, I've got all these sharp eyes,
I'm waiting.
especially the one in the back of the room. Project number 3, preserving the Virginia Lee Burton papers, Cape Ann Museum, amount $20,000. The applicant is the Cape Ann Museum. Budget and Finance moves to recommend that the City Council appropriate up to $20,000 from the Community Preservation Act funds as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee to provide funding to the Cape Ann Museum for the purpose of preserving the papers of Virginia Lee Burton, preserve an historic resource. The appropriation will be allocated to the historic preservation category and funded from unrestricted reserves in Fund 4500. The project will be tracked in the Community Preservation Fund, Historic Preservation Fund number 4776, and I so move.
Second.
Made, seconded, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
our last project to present to you this evening is project number 4. The applicant is the Hampton Castle Museum. It's a continuation of a project that's been going on for a number of years. The estimated total project cost is $403,000. The CPC committee is recommending a $50,000 an appropriation under historic preservation for this. We have given over the last several years, we've given money to the council has approved money for the Hammond Castle on this project that's been going on for many years.
It has.
And to give us an overview of this is Linda Harvey.
Sure. This is part of our restoration of the towers at the castle, and this particular part section is the towers that are facing the rose window side of the building. And it houses the organ pipes that we are restoring our organ piece by piece, chamber by chamber. In this particular area, there are 2 chambers that will be affected by this restoration. It is to clean the walls and take off rubble, which has happened over the years with the water ingress and the winds and weather that the towers sustain. And so we will be removing those pipes and sending them out to be repaired, and then bringing them back, correcting all of our electrical systems in that tower. And we've been working with the electrical department, building department here to on that project. And it is just another step in moving us forward and being able to once again play the organ, which has not been heard for over 20 years now. So we're very, very excited about it. We have a spring concert that we're hoping that the first 4 chambers of the organ will be repaired, and to the extent where we can perform and encourage people to then donate more to this particular project, which is a multi-million-dollar project. So we've taken giant steps in preserving these towers now. And we pretty much have the exterior of the building sealed so that the water ingress now is at a minimum. There's still a few little leaks here and there, but when you're looking at the age of the building, which is us, we're about to celebrate our 100th anniversary as well. It's amazing that we can do as much as we can do to preserve it. So, and this will be preserving it for generations to come, with the organ to be improved upon annually and be able to do more in entertaining the community. So this past year with our gratis days to the Gloucester community, we have seen over 600 visitors from Gloucester that came into the museum to observe it at no charge. And we also are very supportive to Pathways and other organizations collaborating with the HAM people. And so we're trying to do as much in the community as we possibly can. But we're very grateful for the money that we've received in the past, and hopefully again this year.
Councilors?
Do I remember it's one day a week that it's open to the residents?
It's open every Tuesday.
That's what I thought. Thank
Yes,
you.
you're welcome. And then we have various other days. During our Deck the Halls celebration, we had free admission to anyone to come in. and
But in
see-
general, it's every Tuesday for
Every
Gloucester
Tuesday.
residents, and that's in public access is
Yes,
rather
in the
important.
9 months that we're.
Thank you.
If you wouldn't mind just describing some of the other funding streams and sources that you rely upon to make these improvements, because it's a daunting task.
It is a daunting task. We've had money that has come in mostly through donations, private donations to the museum itself. And our revenue stream, the purpose of every fundraiser that we have is to go towards the restoration of this building. And we've had numerous ones. We've also, the Mass Cultural Council has been very generous to us as well, and providing phases during our restoration period over the past 4 or 5 years now. So we've numerous grants, many of which have dried up and gone away because of the economy of the country. And so right now we're working as hard as we can to raise as much money independently as we can as well.
At one point in time, the museum controlled their own extensive real estate
Correct.
around the castle, some of which has been or had to have been sold off for private development, which has been a funding source in the past, I believe.
Yes, it has. Unfortunately, we had to sell those pieces in the land in order to keep the building standing. It was out of necessity, emergency necessity to do that. So, but I have to say that we're really doing a bang up job over there, and our revenues this year are quite extensive. I think probably hit the $4 million mark in income and revenues this year, which is quite a task that's happened over the last 7 years of my presence there.
You've made a very impressive contribution to the vitality of the place and
It's wonderful.
its accessibility and its preservation for the long term.
Thank you.
We'll let you have you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I love my job.
Any council questions? No. So this is our project number 4, the rose window side organ pipes and chambers restoration. The amount is $50,000 applicant is the Henry Castle Museum. Budget and Finance move to recommend that the City Council appropriate up to $50,000 from the Community Preservation Act funds as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee. Provide funding to the Hammond Castle Museum for the purpose of preservation of the rose window side organ pipes chambers restoration in order to preserve an historic resource. Appropriation will be allocated to historic preservation category, funded from unrestricted funds, fund number 4,500. But to track the Community Preservation Fund, Historic Preservation Fund, fund number 4777. And I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made. Any seconded? Any further discussion? Being done, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Linda.
Appreciate it.
I think I mentioned to you, I had a wonderful visit with my mother to the the Hammond Gardens in New York.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, nice talk with the director there, talking about connections.
Sister of John Hayes Hammond Jr.
Yeah.
That has this, and they are beautiful Japanese gardens.
Beautiful. My sister was married there.
Oh, precious. That's very
Long,
special. Great. Thank you again. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, councilors. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill.
Mr. Guff.
I'm sorry, are you the chair?
No, I'm the
Co-chair.
vice chair.
Right, okay.
Vice chair.
Matt Lumberger's chair.
Yeah, Matt Lundberg's the chair.
That's right.
He does a much better job than I.
He's out of town.
Yeah, he's
Bill, I think you did a great job covering for him.
Oh, thank you.
Good job.
We'll talk
Oh,
you up.
thank you. Yeah. And just, one of the things that's interesting is the match, we were talking earlier, it's about, we've gotten a match of 2.6 million over those years from the state. And I think it's about 160 this year
Yes.
that we're getting, but we got, much more, but between the 9 million that we've raised through our taxes and the 2.6, it's, a lot of money has gone into back to the city, thank goodness.
And it's thanks to John Bell's administration.
Right.
However many years, and originally we did apply, there was a ballot initiative to have a 3% CPA levy contribution. That was voted down. Then there was a second vote, which was also voted down, and then a third try got us to the 1%. Whereas in contrast, Rockport was able to successfully pass a 3% CPA contribution and it benefited for their community in an enormous way as a result. So, especially in the early years of the leveraging.
Right. Maybe somebody in the community of the city of Gloucester would try to get that.
I've raised the issue several
ahead,
times
Bill.
over the years and I've had my head bitten off very quickly.
Go ahead, I know. All righty, thank you. I know you got a big agenda, so thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Bill. You know, you guys were the lion's share.
Thank you. Oh, here we are, it's Bella. Thank you, Jay. All right, thank you. Good to see everybody.
Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you. Thank you, Anna. Nice to meet you.
So the next item on our budget and finance agenda this evening is a memorandum from the Director of Public Works requesting our acceptance of a donation from Carroll Steel Insurance towards the maintenance of the Langsford Street Cemetery in the amount of $500. I believe this is a repeat of prior year contributions by Carroll Steel for this purpose.
Good phone.
What a call you.
Everything's falling out of your pockets there, Bill?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Oh, what about your wallet?
We'll
I
take
left
it.
a wallet.
We'll take it.
So is there any question on the background on this, or shall I go ahead and read the motion?
Be clear.
Yep. So Budget and Finance moves to recommend the City Council accept a cash donation under Mass General Law, Chapter 44A. To support the Department of Public Works Cemetery Commission, the maintenance of the Langsford Street Cemetery, amount of $500 from the following business partners within our community, who are the Carroll K Steel Insurance Agency, Inc. Amount of $500, and I so move.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And thanks to the Carroll Steel Insurance Agency. Elise, we're finally to you.
This has been great. I don't feel like it's been finally, like, I love hearing all this stuff.
Item number 3 on our agenda is a memorandum of the Director of Elder Services, Elise Sinagra, requesting our acceptance of state formula grant in the amount of $164,320.
What? 164, wow. Yeah, so this is the formula grant that we get every year. It's called a formula grant because it is a formula. It's a per senior amount. And they, once again, raised it by an additional $1 over what I had budgeted for receiving, which is a good problem to have, better than the other way. And they did that a little bit earlier. They've done that the past couple of years, and that notification that we're getting that extra money came a little late in the game. This year it was a little bit earlier, and I think it's allowed me to be a little bit more strategic about what we want to do with that extra $1 per senior, which amounts to about, let's see, 10,000, well, exact $10,270 what it amounts to. So what I had proposed to the prior mayoral administration was that we use that to fund 3 additional hours per week for our part-time program assistant, Holly Davis, who is our Seniors on the Go coordinator. And that's so that she can provide additional office support in addition to what she does for Seniors on the Go. And then the additional unexpected funds will also be used for program support and for some staff training. The, very importantly, is the last very small kind of paragraph on the mayor's, the memo here, the cover sheet, is that the grant also fully supports the wages for the Council on Aging's activities and volunteer coordinator, Natalia Moshe, who I can't ever say enough good things about, nor can any members of the community who interact with Natalia, because she's fantastic. And our video production coordinator, Jennifer Lee Levitz, who also does amazing work. She produces our Unleash the Power of Age program with 1623. And I can't tell you what great feedback I get when I'm just out about in the community. People stop me and tell me that they've seen episodes of Unleash the Power and they really enjoyed it. So I think I'm overdue to get in front of the camera and be
There you go.
interviewed by Jennifer Lee again. It's fun. It's a good show. So it supports that. It also provides partial support for the wages of our outreach coordinator. That's our social worker in most councils on aging. The social worker role is called outreach coordinator. And that's Tiffany Machado, who's also just doing incredible work. She's our certified Shine counselor. We're just coming out of open enrollment, which has kept her just hopping is an understatement. And she does all just, critical work. The social worker really, it's the stuff when the rubber really meets the road with some issues that can come up as we age. Tiffany's helping folks navigate some really important, sometimes very difficult things. And also for our senior clerk, Michael Feeney, who helps me to keep all of this kind of stuff together and keeps the bills paid. And he's also kind of the informal historian, because Michael's been there for a lot longer than I. So he's the one that I can, if I need to harken back to how something ever was done before I get there, I get to consult with Michael. So it's a very important grant. Yeah, it's the biggest one that we get.
And you mentioned that this year is up $1.
Another $1, yeah.
Last year it was up $2.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so you might explain, so Counselor Page understands that this is based on your census.
Yes.
Your documentation of how many seniors in the community
Yep.
enjoy your services, which you have to document on a regular basis.
Yeah,
That's what census is.
the State Department of, used to be the Department of Elder Affairs. Now they just rebranded. They're now the Department of Age and Independence. They do get the census figures directly from, whatever their source for the national numbers, are. And we have officially 10,270 is our senior population, and the way they define it is 60 plus. So that's how many 60 plus members of our community we had at the time of the last census.
Answer questions. Well, great presentation and congratulations on the increase in the funding. That makes a huge difference in your
Good.
budget.
Yeah, it always does. I'm always really grateful for the formula grant.
I did read your rebranding grant though.
Yes, oh, good.
Very ambitious timeline. Good luck with that.
Yes,
It sounds like
yes,
a great project.
Yes.
What's it gonna be? Anything?
We've got,
Yes.
we're tossing around a couple of things. There's a lot. I've been finding myself in my spare time, just reading a lot of research about why it is that when we as humans get a little bit older, that we just don't kind of like to refer to ourselves that way. And, so there's a lot going into it. We're trying to make sure that we really put a big emphasis on hearing from the community, because it's a great opportunity not only to figure out what our new brand identity should be, but to really, in doing the brand audit, that is a big part of that. We're also just finding some ways, some places in which we can make some substantive changes. Patty sat in on our board meeting, the COA board meeting, and we're learning some things that we now know we can just kind of do better. And it's of course important to continue to try to be always looking for that stuff. And I find that the rebranding initiative has been a good way to do that. It's provided that opportunity. And there is a weird little connection between this grant and that. And it's in that the grant for the rebranding came from the Mass Council on Aging, and they're our membership organization, and they gave us that rebranding grant, and they're kind of the liaison between the Department of Age and Independence and each of the, all the however many councils on aging there are here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So it is, it is kind of related.
Read the motion. Budget and Finance moves to recommend that the City Council accept under Mass General Law, Chapter 4453A, the Massachusetts State Fiscal Year 2026 Council on Aging Formula Grant allocation from the Massachusetts Executive Office of Elder Affairs in the amount of $164,320. There is no local match for this grant. The grant period is from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. So move.
Second.
Motion has been made, seconded. Any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.
Very good. Just in time, Suzanne.
Sorry.
Well done.
I picked up my wrong papers.
I'd like to welcome Suzanne Egan, our city solicitor. Patty, do you know Suzanne? So the next item on our agenda is item number 4, which is a memorandum from our mayor requesting acceptance of grant funds from the Gloucester Fund to support the community impact unit. The amount is $245,970.46.
Yes. So this money stems from back in 2020, when the CIU was first created. The mayor at the time and the chief of police made it a policy and said that any donations that were going to be given to the CIU would go through the Gloucester Fund. And so that fund has been accepting donations on behalf of the CIU for that amount of time. And then recently we said, okay, what we need to do is bring that into the city to make sure that the city council can properly accept it. And then it will be put to the use for the community. So actually accept that donation. And for the,
Can you give us any insight into the source of funding, the source of?
yeah, so we have, so the funding is from individual donations and grants that for people who that donated specifically for the activities of the community impact unit. And we do have that information from the Gloucester Fund, so where the money came from, you know, who was donating and what was the reason. So a lot of it was the Cops and Kids and the backpack program.
Community Safety Day as well, because I
Right.
remember that was one of the first.
Right. So there were, yeah, so there's a number, you know, the community impact unit does so many things for the community and the children and all the rest of it. So that's what the money is for. Was doing for.
Any of the opioid settlement money,
No.
Excuse me?
No.
opioid settlement money.
No, no.
Kenny says no. Connor
No,
says no.
there's a separate fund.
Separate fund.
Oh, yeah, this is totally different. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is, right, this is Gloucester Fund coming to Gloucester opioid. is
Right, no,
City
and
money.
did any opioid, maybe. opioid
Went
money
to
go
us.
into it, yeah. No. Okay, the answer, yeah.
Any other council question? Pat?
I assume these are grants, they have specific uses. So the grant money that might come in for Cops and Kids has to go to that program.
So,
That way,
so, a lot of it's there. So there's a difference, right? Is it a formal grant? If it's a formal grant, then it would, yes, but a lot of the money came in as donations for the community impact unit or Cops and Kids. So whatever that, right, whatever that particular purpose is, that's why we're asking to accept the grant for the purpose of the community to be used for those activities.
so you're saying they would want grants in general, not. a
There,
state grant or-
there were a few, formal grants, but most of it were just donations.
And can you tell me what the community impact's mission really is? I'm not clear. about it. I've been there 3 times, they're locked. I'm not clear what their goals, but they're in transition, so.
That's the best question for the community impact unit, but I can say that the purpose is they have a lot of programs for the kids and sort of have the relationship with the police department as alternatives for substance abuse and all those things. So they do a lot of activities. They put on the fishing activities in the summertime. They
I
do
know that
the
program.
backpacks. They also have they have the person who's a recovery coach. So they work with the substance abuse community. to do
So they are
prevention
not
work.
Gloucester police officers, is that what? I'm-
No, there is a Gloucester police officer assigned in charge of it, and then the school resource officers also work out of that department, but they're
Who are
stationed in the.
officers?
Excuse me, yeah,
Who
they
are-
are, yep,
right,
yep, and there's one, they have one recovery coach is not a police officer, but works in that.
And is that the one stop that's next to?
No, that's different.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
All excellent questions. Thank you.
You know me, if I don't know, I'm gonna ask.
Hopefully next time you check down the other door.
I don't know if I'm in the wrong hours or what. I'm not clear, and I know they've been under construction, so maybe it's just an, if I need to find it, I know how to find it.
I bet you do.
Michael Scholl is my nephew.
There are no other questions.
Yeah.
So, Budget and Finance would move to recommend that the City Council accept cash donations under Mass General Law, Chapter 4453A, various donations from members from our community through the Gloucester Fund since 2020 in the total amount of $245,970.46. Support the Police Department and Community Impact Unit, or CIU, programs and activities, and I so move.
Second, discussion.
This is the right time.
Are we fully confident the accounting on this has been completely complete?
So this is for one of the years, we'll be receiving more money from the
I
Gloucester
understand,
Fund,
but
yes,
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 are we confident that the Gloucester Fund has kept
absolutely.
good records of their?
Yes, so the Gloucester Fund provided us with a lot of their bank statements, and they provide us with all information, so everything is
Gloucester
traceable.
Fund now, in addition to Barry Pat.
Excuse me?
Is it still Ringo?
No, no,
I can't remember the name, I'm sorry.
Oh,
But they do have an accountant who has done an accounting and is providing us that information. I can't remember the other.
So you guys are, every penny's been accounted for.
Yes,
I can't speak to that. I don't know.
I've looked at it. And I can see it. And we, yes.
Because there's some scuttlebutt in the community that there's a source of controversy financially, I think, there has been that I'm aware of.
There's,
This is outside of the city. How I always.
Yeah.
It initially was going to be with the city, but then it was outside of the city. So the Gloucester, because the Gloucester Fund's not part of the city.
But the use of the funds that's coming through
Not
that.
not the use, I'm talking about the accounting of the funds.
yeah, we've been provided with the accounting and are confident in the accounting.
Okay,
You will be having additional donations to accept
there's 28,000 coming.
28,000 and then some, then another, and actually another fiscal year, you'll be receiving money also from that.
It's a substantial amount.
This is a substantial one. And then there will be some additional money also.
Where's this going into the?
Same. It's gonna be in the fund for the CIU.
It's going to be in the original fund that we created 5 years ago.
Okay, that.
We established the process
Right.
5 years ago.
Right.
So it's just going to go into what we created 5 years ago. It's going to be its own special dedicated fund.
Yeah.
And it's just going to roll. It's nothing to do with the general fund. It's going to be its own dedicated fund, and whatever funds aren't spent, it's just going to roll into the next year.
Right.
But it's going to stay all within
Community impact.
community impact donation, or only community impact donations.
And do we as Budget Finance and City Council see the expenditure of those funds?
You can at any time.
It's an off, it's not in the operating budget. So
Yeah, it's in its own dedicated fund. Revenues will be coming in and accepted by,
It will be accepting them.
and then whatever, like, what expenses, what they'll be, the normal city process with requisitions, purchase orders, depending on the amount, could be contracts. And then we'll go through the warrant process, for payment, and then anytime, the council can ask, the detail of those expenditures, and we can provide that. Yeah, but when it's at the Gloucester Fund, we're not.
It would be,
for me, I'm not-
account. See those.
And I would just, for Councillor Page's benefit, I mean, I've been on the Budget Finance Committee for 10 years under Melissa Cox and others, but we have our city operating budget. And then there's another source of funds through grants and other funding. It's
Hundreds of other funds.
outside of the
outside of
operating
it.
budget, and we don't.
This is almost like an enterprise.
No,
No.
it's different. It's a, what they call a special revenue fund. It's the
Special,
type.
okay.
So an enterprise fund, it's a self-supporting fund. So you have a user fee,
We
like,
see those quite in full detail.
I'll be in, gentlemen. You promise me.
Yeah.
No,
So do-
there's a whole, it's difficult to fully
You'll see the budget.
have a presentation to review all of the grant funding sources that go into multiple departments within the city that are outside of the operating budget that we approve.
yeah, they can only spend funds that are available. So if this fund at some point goes, if it does go to zero, then there's no expenditure. So these funds, it's only if there's available funds. So now with 245,000, now these funds are available, so they're able to spend it, but prior to that, they're not able to. Only the funds that are
To
available.
expend that, the police chief through the mayor makes an allocation. How's that?
It would be the department head, so it would be the police department through the community impact unit. They wouldn't, through
They don't have
Stacy
to go through the
McCastro,
mayor.
they would open up the purchase orders in relation to this.
They go-
Joe Balbo now.
But, and that's, they go through you.
Correct. They go through me, they go through the purchasing department. And if it's a contract, it's an official contract, it's gonna go through legal, my department, purchasing, and also the mayor's office as well. Depending on the type of expenditure.
There was recently a $14,000 grant made to the community unit. Did that go to the Gloucester Fund? Is that part of this?
From who?
100 Women Who Care?
That came here.
Okay.
You accepted it. Yep.
So
Yep.
that's,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that
I
came
know,
here.
Yeah.
okay, so that's
Yeah.
not even part of this.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yep, that came here.
Lots of moving pieces.
And if you recall, there's also
It's changed.
veterans, council on aging, they also accept donations and they have their own separate donation fund that's not commingled with this, just to. So everything is separate, accounted for separately.
Any further questions? So the motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3 in favor, 0 opposed. And the next item on our agenda, item number 5, is the memorandum from the general counsel. I think that's you again.
It is me again, yes.
Regarding the Department of Public Works regulations for charging electric vehicles. Okay. We haven't pulled the plug on this yet.
Yeah. Hopefully not tonight.
Suzanne, welcome.
All right,
Again.
thank you, thank you. So the city has, I'm sure everybody knows, city has public charging stations that are available for use. And under the state law, when you have these public charging stations, you're authorized to charge a fee. And the city has come up with the fee for this and made the regulation so that everybody understands it. And therefore, as you know, as part of your regulation or part of the process, then you just approve those regulations or confirm the regulations. And I can say I personally wasn't involved in the way that they came up with this charging fee, like the actual dollar amount. But I know what they did is they did this, and this was through Bailey, the sustainability coordinator. So she did a whole review of what everybody is charging around here, and they came up with a figure that compensated the city for the cost and also was the market rate. But we're not making a profit off it, and we're not losing money from it.
We just spent last year $30,000+ replacing several out of use charging stations through a grant.
Through a grant, right?
So these kinds of charges don't offset the capital cost of the equipment necessarily that relate to the usage and national grid charges that the city absorbs.
Exactly. So this is the cost to the city.
Why aren't the ones here on Warren Street in here?
My question, yeah. They're not included. It's only Rogers and
No,
like C2.
well, they'll have
What's
to
that?
amend their rules. Oh, the overstay fee only applies. So it's all electric, all electric chargers, they get
Oh.
charged this rate, but then they have the overstaying
Oh,
fee
only
for
down
lots,
Rogers Street.
Rogers and Gloucester
Oh,
are
I
lots for
understand.
more than 4
Okay,
hours.
all right.
I thought
So
it
it's
was,
the
Yeah,
overstay.
and how do we bill them at 40 cents? Do they have to put in 40 cents and then it shuts off after a kilowatt
I
hour?
think you should put your credit card.
Yeah, you put your credit card right in and it's similar to like a Flowbird kiosk.
Okay, so it's
So it
just
charges you.
whatever it uses to charge.
I have this very cool
there a-
dashboard now. I can look at it.
Is there
see
a
what's
minimum?
there.
Are we minimum starting out at 40 cents?
Yeah, so it's the 40 cents is the minimum.
Yeah, okay, good.
It's really an enhancement from what was
yeah,
there
I'm
before.
sure Bailey calculated this correctly, but
Yeah.
if the city isn't on the lowest rate of the community aggregate, if they're on the basic standard rate, which is 0.15, I'm not clear that that is covering that. At the 0.13, it's 40 cents a kilowatt. At the 0.15, it might be slighter, I don't know. I know when the city enrolls you, they enroll you in the basic standard, they don't enroll you in the lowest rate of count.
Mhm.
Because I've had to change all my meters over.
Mhm.
Maybe they just want to confirm that.
Like it's not the National Grid base account versus the city's aggregation.
The city aggregation, when the city enrolls your meter, if you don't do it yourself, they put you in a little higher rate than the actual, I don't remember the terms for the charging, but the lowest rate is 0.13. And that's the lowest rate you can get. The next rate up is called basic standard, and that's 0.15. And I'm curious if the city actually has their on the lowest aggregate rate for the basic standard, because that's what they enroll customers in.
I didn't know that.
I
Yeah.
talk to Bailey once in a while.
Okay.
We can always increase it if we find it different.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and read the motion. Budget and Finance moves to recommend that the City Council establish an electric vehicle public charging station fee regulation as follows. One, as authorized by Massachusetts General Law 25, Chapter 25A, paragraph 16, Chapter 16, a fee shall be charged to use the City of Gloucester's electric vehicle EV chargers, a charging fee. The fee shall be reasonably related to the cost of the city to provide such service and may fluctuate as the electric rate fluctuates. Two, charging fee, 40 cents per kilowatt hour. Three, overstay fee, $5 per hour. This fee applies to the city's EV chargers located at Rogers Street and Gloucester House parking lots. Vehicles which occupy a public EV charger parking spot located within the Rogers Street and Gloucester House parking lots for more than 4 hours shall be subject to an overstay fee of $5 per hour. This fee shall be in addition to the charging fee listed above. And I so moved.
Second. I have a question. How would this be communicated to the users?
It is on the city website. And it's,
They'll see it when they pull up.
do they say when, right?
I'm
It's sort of like
trying
a
to avoid surprise.
Why?
I mean,
That's fine. I just was
Right.
curious how we communicate to the public these changes, because it will come out sooner or later, but
right, so it's not, so because it's very specific, right, who's being charged, it's not really to the public,
Right.
because not everybody has an EV car that they need to
understand.
charge. So it's gonna be communicated to the user through when they want to use that machine, and it's also on the city, on the DPW webpage that explains it.
would the city ever do a newspaper article on this, just to say it's in effect?
I mean, sometimes I don't know who's taken Ethan's place.
Nobody yet. Gail McCarthy's been doing some of.
Stephen Hagan.
Yes,
Yeah.
we can talk to the mayor's office about a press release, or I don't know, yes,
Yeah,
that would be
a press
appropriate
release
once,
from the mayor's office.
once it's all approved.
Approved,
and
of
everything.
course.
You know,
Yeah.
it should certainly go in the mayor's upcoming city newsletter for the next month.
They don't have, I doubt to see a January newsletter with any staff in there.
The changes.
Well, you have no staff.
One man shop.
Busy man.
Careful what you ask for. Okay, so did we vote on that?
You're not.
Not yet.
Okay, we made the motion. The motion's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I think that was 3 in favor, 0 opposed. So now this is the one that Councillor Page has been eagerly waiting for an explanation about. Did
I
you
got-
cause her some heartache and what, when you saw this overdraft report? Oh,
I
okay.
think I'll leave. Thank
Smart
you.
move.
Explain this to my husband.
Yeah.
Your answers were correct.
Okay.
I understood.
We can just say it right off the top that the Council on Aging, I halfway down the first page, will be addressed in large part by the grants that we just accepted. I think,
Yeah.
like everything on this, it's a timing.
Well, first I was gonna say, I realize it's 2 pages, but it was 2 pages also I have the last report here as well. It was 2 pages. So we actually went from 48 accounts now to 55 accounts. And then I also, so a lot of departments, they view this as the naughty list, but then there's also a good list as well. So this is 55 lines, in the city budget. But the city budget, it's over 1,000 lines. Right, and if you look at the original city budget as the BNF committee looked at it, we're talking about $167 million. So this is less than 1%. So I know the number looks large, however, but when you look at the entire city budget, and you're looking at 167 million, because it's not only the general fund, it's also the enterprise funds too, because we have water, sewer, we have the rink, and we have waterways. But when you look at it big picture, less than 1%. The 1.5 million, because it's 167 million.
Right, but at the end of the year, the end of the fiscal year, this balances to 0.
Oh, it does. And
These two gentlemen
I
know.
have
and
a
I-
hat trick that they do, and they pick from here and go to there, and
can speak to in the last 15 years.
they have to satisfy the
I've
state.
seen it go to 0. I make it go to 0 at the end
We get,
on the GL side.
we get a whole bunch of transfers in July.
It works
And then
itself
they
out.
transfer things and cover this.
If there's a surplus in one
Yeah.
department, it'll be a transfer to cover another
Yeah.
department's.
And is there anything of concern to you, both, either of you, on this?
No, I mean,
Okay.
so the only thing I will say is
Good
that
question.
it'll be internal transfers in between. I know Connor's already working on the one for the trash. And then the only one that concerns me typically around this time of year is the snow and ice. Just how much is it going to be? I mean, for me, the one that takes the cake is from 2015, when we had, major snow. We spent over $3 million of snow and ice. So that's the only one that typically each year that
The
concerns
budget
me.
allocation for snow and ice is around $700,000.
Yeah, 766,000.
We're already at 96,000. We're
Right.
just into snow.
And
Tony's done.
the snow, well, we're down, back up. I have to look at these things, because we're just working off of this. But snow and ice is a weird formula that you'll learn more about.
Right, the state covers that.
Well, no,
No.
the state
I
doesn't
wish.
cover it.
Oh,
I
Um,
wish it did.
no, but
That's the only one I
if
wasn't
you
basic-
budget,
If
if you,
FEMA helps with that one.
if you
over
budget
time.
more,
Yeah,
like, let's
you
say we
could.
went to $1 million, you can never go back down to 700 if we have less and less snow and ice.
oh.
It's an odd.
So that's
category.
why we keep it at the 700 and whatever number, even though we know we're gonna go over it.
Well, it says 340,000, so you.
Well, it was the original.
So-
Original.
If I could say, so what you see there, those are specific lines within the snow and ice budget. So the snow and ice budget could be 50 lines in it. You're probably only looking at 3 or 4
Right.
that are in a
Oh,
deficit
there's
in each
2 lines
line.
there.
But there's other lines that does have money. So the overall snow and ice budget right now, it's not in a deficit in total. So in Department 423, in total, it's not in a
3
deficit.
lines, it's snow and ice.
It's not. I'm sure soon it will be, but at this time, it's not. And when it does go into a deficit, the CAO will need to write a letter to increase the spending limit. It's the only lawful deficit that we can have.
Okay.
But the CAO will need to increase the spending limit. So at some point, they'll have to increase 766 to 1 million or 1,200,000 as we go along throughout the year.
The most important thing, and Councilor Wardley always challenged this thought process on budget and finance, but this is a snapshot in time.
Mhm.
And we're midway through the year, more or less, and this reflects a variety of surpluses and deficits. And the task is by the year end, resolve them all.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if I may, a lot of it is the union contracts that have just recently settled. So you're seeing a lot of small balances in the salary lines.
Mhm.
That's a little bit of COLA that was given as those contracts settled. So in the next mayor's report, you're gonna see a bunch of transfers that resolves all these deficits, because we have a contingency that funds all that. So it should be
Budget for it
cleaned up.
originally, but they don't put it.
The-
Budget for it originally.
Yeah.
In a separate fund, and then they move it into the line.
Okay,
Because at the time when the budget was voted, the contract wasn't settled. So we didn't, you know,
Best guess.
Yeah,
they
it was
put
the
them
best
on.
guess of what.
So we're waiting for one last one that just settled last week. So we're in good shape.
I'm still waiting on the superiors.
All of them are done now. Uniform
Oh, okay.
superiors too.
Oh, great.
And again, for Council Page's benefit, the Republic Services dispute is that, are we back on a
We're back,
current basis with
we're
them?
back on.
Yep.
You'll see SPTs in this mayor's report next Tuesday
Yes. yeah.
for the
Yeah.
transfers to
You'll see
pay
it
us all.
tomorrow. You'll see them tomorrow morning when you get your packet.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the formula grant, that's going to solve at some point.
Council on Aging,
Council on Aging.
and that's the way it works. You get,
That seems to take a long.
we were
time to
anticipating it
articulate
and it
through,
came
though.
in.
It takes like months. We'll be seeing that council on aging deficit. For a
Well, so
while.
the grant is accepted, and then what happens, we set it up, but then we have to wait from the department to send us the journal entry to move it. So sometimes we're waiting on our
Right,
office.
yeah,
Because we can't initiate it.
exactly.
We don't manage the grant.
Yeah, yeah, it seems to take them forever to send.
It does.
So you keep seeing that council on aging, and then finally.
I think last year, what happened, I was so tired, I contacted Elise and I just went down there and I did it myself. I worked it out with her. And we just got it done.
Like, trying to keep up with
I have
it.
to do that again.
Yeah,
Don't get confused.
Motion to adjourn?
Those in
Any other
favor?
questions?
Three in favor, 0 opposed, 2 join. Welcome, Councilor Page. I hope that was interesting. Your contribution.
until we got to these.